through. And then they're like that, like how they came in the package. So let's do that one more time because that was a disaster. Hi everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 49 of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, I think, and it is sort of just been a really mild winter here in North Texas. It was kind of chilly today because it was windy and I had a hard time taking Toaster for a walk because we were both so cold. But it really has been a weirdly mild winter, like 60 degrees. So I will take it. It's still cold enough to wear a sweater, which I will talk about in just a second. But first I want to share the tea that I am drinking today. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Definitely going to be taking my little tea sipping breaks, but this is one of my Plum Deluxe tea subscription boxes, and I want to say it came recently. This is vanilla sugar cookie dessert tea, and it tastes just like it sounds. It's so good. This is actually one of the first ones that I would really consider like ordering a bigger thing of once I go through all the little packages that I have. But it is so good. Like, I'm almost done with it, and I only opened it up I think last week. So it's delicious. It is caffeine free, which is another reason why I've been drinking it a lot, because I can have caffeine free tea at night, which is when I usually drink tea. So super good, really love it. I would highly recommend that if they're offering it right now. Actually don't know when I got it. It could have been a while ago, but who knows. So yes, I am wearing, this is the sweater that I wore to work today. It's a cardigan, and it is Breezy Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. It is definitely one of my most worn sweaters. The color the yarn is Miss Babs in her Katahdin yarn, which is those big ol' hanks, and the colorway is Coffee Break. So I am not usually one to wear brown, so this is like my only brownish item in my closet, and actually I wear it a lot. It's got navy in it too, and just some, I don't know, tonal stuff. I don't know why it's called Coffee Break, but it is, so there you go. I really like it. I wear it all the time. I love that it has these like flappy things on it that are long and not short, that stop up like, I don't know, up high. Those don't look good on me, but the long ones are great. Okay, let's get into some knitting. My hair is bothering me today. I don't know why. So I have a finished object, yay! I'm so excited. So I have finished my January socks, actually literally just finished them a few hours ago. I woven the ends on them, but I finished the knitting this morning. So these socks are Regia Perfect, and I started them like January 3rd or 2nd or something. Regia Perfect, and they're the Arnie and Carlos line. And so they are a self-patterning yarn. So I did play, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. There's something like making me feel like I need to sneeze or cough. Super weird. I don't know. So weird. Anyway, I'm back. Okay. So this is a self-patterning sock yarn, but I did use the solid parts of it intentionally to make the sock a shorty sock. So what I did is I just started it how the ball tells you to do it, and I knit down to this white here, which is actually supposed to be the heel. So all of this is supposed to be leg, if you can imagine, without the heel. And I went ahead and knit a toe. And then I did the same thing with the second one. And then I think I was where that marker is right here. That's where I was last week on the second sock. I was really motivated to finish them up since this is the last week of January, and I want to start something new for February. So really motivated. And then yesterday I knew I was going to a Dallas Stars hockey game. And so I went ahead and prepped both socks on Sunday night by getting ready to cut in an Afterthought heel. I don't know if you can hear Toaster, but he's making a lot of noise. So I went ahead and got both socks prepared for an Afterthought heel because I figured one heel was not going to be enough to get me through a 3-hour game. And I was right. I was actually able to work or to do most of both heels. I finished one and I was able to do most of the other during the game, which was so great. I mean, I love hockey, but I also like getting knitting done when I have to go out and stay up late anyway. So as far as yarn left over, I had this much left. Oh, I feel like I haven't completed the story yet. Hold on. Let me finish talking about the Afterthought heels and then I'll tell you about the yarn. Okay, so the Afterthought heel. This was my first time doing a cut-in Afterthought heel. I kind of loosely followed Amy Florence's version. What is her? I think, yeah, Amy Florence is her YouTube channel, but she's the Stranded podcast and dyes, Stranded Dye Works yarn. But she has a little tutorial that I watched many months ago whenever it came out, before I'd had really any intention of doing a cut-in Afterthought heel. I just wanted to see how it worked. So without going back to look at it, I just pretty much winged it. I knew the concept. And so basically I designated, well, first of all, okay, I took a little video while I was doing this. So what would have made it easier for me is if I had went ahead and picked up the stitches for the Afterthought heel while I already had my stitches like split half and half on magic loop, because then it would have been easier to distinguish like where halfway was, because you don't want to put in a heel and then it's like over here on the side and doesn't match the toe. Or I guess you could put the heel in before you do the toe and then orient the toe to the heel. Whatever, I'd already done the toe. So what I ended up doing is I started at like the toe decreases and I found the middle, and then I just used stitch markers. I like would move one and then move the other one, and I would just kind of let them hopscotch each other all the way down to where I knew I was going to cut in the heel. I did that on the other side as well, so I knew exactly like basically where half of my stitches were, and so I knew how many to pick up. And then I also had to count down from the toe the number of rows I needed for my foot, which is for me 65 most of the time. And then that's where I knew to put in my heel. So what I did after that is I knew I needed to pick up basically all the stitches. I needed to pick a row that I was going to cut out, and then I needed to pick up all the stitches above that row and all the stitches below that row. I thought it would be kind of hard to start on the side, so I actually started in the middle, which is the beauty of a circular needle. So I started in the middle and I went one way, picking up the right leg of all of the stitches, and then I like pulled my needle through, and then I went the other way, still picking up the right leg, but kind of like in the other direction. So then I had one line good to go. But I knew I would be able to pick up that row above now that I had marked that row. So then that's what I did. I pulled my needles through, picked up the next row, and then I was able to cut the yarn in the middle and then pick it out with a needle. So basically you end up with this like gaping hole with half of your stitches on one needle, half on the other, or half on, split for magic loop. And then you essentially make another toe. I mean, it's almost exactly the same. I did do different decreases, and I did decrease more. So usually I do the fish lips kiss heel. And when I do that type of short row heel, I leave 8 stitches here in the middle. So I decreased down to where I had, 8 stitches, where I had 8 stitches on each side, so 16 total stitches. So that would make it pretty much almost identical to a fish lips kiss heel. It's of course not exactly the same, but that does make it really, really close. The kind of decreases that I did, because you can see this looks different than the toe. So on the toe, I just do the typical like knit to the last 3 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 1, and then on the next needle, knit 1, slip, slip, knit. Just your basic standard decrease. On the heel, I did not do that. I actually used Susan B. Anderson's Smooth Operator Sock heel, where she just does knit 2 together at the end and beginning of the row. So I don't know. I don't know if I love that or not. I mean, I think it looks tidy, but honestly, I don't wear my socks quick enough after making them to really have an analysis of how something different works. So I probably should start doing that. I usually wash them, block them, and then fold them up and put them in my box of socks for like a year before I actually pull them out to wear them. I don't know why. That's just what I do. So maybe I actually need to wear these so I can decide, do I like an Afterthought heel? I think it's going to give me a bit more room than a fish lips kiss heel, or do I like the fish lips kiss heel? Because I will tell you, I don't love that this gives me an extra end. It really is just one extra end, because it's got an end here where you have to graft it. In the fish lips kiss heel, while it doesn't have to have any ends, I typically do it when I'm doing contrasting heels, so it does give me 2 ends. I usually knit over one of the ends though. I don't know. So we'll just have to see. I might do this more often, I might not. If I do it again, I will probably make a tutorial, because I feel like that's something that you guys might be interested in, is a tutorial on the Afterthought heel. There's a million amazing tutorials out there, but sometimes it's nice to just see one other person do it. So we'll see. Maybe if I do this again coming up in the near future, I will try to just get it on film and show you guys. So I need to block these still. Look for them on probably Saturday on my Instagram. I'm trying to do a Saturday sock update every Saturday on Instagram, because I realized I was never taking progress pictures of my socks. It was just like once a month I would put like a finished pair of socks out there, which is totally not fun, because you can't see the progress. So now you should be able to see the progress of my socks throughout the month. But yeah, happy with how that turned out. Now back to the yarn. So since I did not use this part for the leg, I used it for the foot, and I used this for the toe instead of the heel. What I ended up with is a long stretch of the self-patterning yarn that was for the foot, and another little bit, which was for the toe, that I actually ended up using for the heel. So you can see I still have some left over, and I've got 2 of those because this repeated twice. So I've got 2 whites and 2 of the patterning yarn. So this is not quite enough. It's only 12 grams to go into my Granny Stripes blanket. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. We'll see. Plus it doesn't really fit the vibe. Like my Granny Stripe blanket, which I'll show in a bit, is more solid colors than like self-striping. So who knows? Maybe I'll put it in, maybe I won't. But I don't know. I guess it's up to me to decide. So finished object for the month of January. Very happy with that. Okay, so now I have a couple whips to talk about. I'm gonna have to start a new project. I'm thinking that in February I might not knit a pair of socks right away. I might actually do a hat. I was kind of playing with using up some of this worsted yarn, because I never use worsted weight yarn, and just making some hats. Maybe I'll wear them, or maybe I'll give them away. But I also really want to use this Stars yarn because I want another Dallas Stars hat, and so I thought about maybe that would be fun to make that into a hat. So we'll see. I'll probably start something new here in a bit. I have other things to work on, of course, so it's not an emergency, but once February hits, I'll probably cast on a new project. So my other whips, I have my Tanya, which I'm still in love with. I haven't worked on it in a couple days. Actually, that's not true. On Sunday, I finished up the lace and got it where I'm starting the stockinette portion. So let me just show it to you first, and then I'll explain. So I love this color. Anything purpley, pinky, mauvey, I love. This is Tanya by Caitlin Hunter. It is a short sleeve top. This is the lace that goes on the bottom, and the rest of it will be stockinette stitch. So it'll just be plain and simple. The yarn that I am using is Spun Right Round in the colorway Dusty Roses, and it is so, so pretty. So I was loving it. I was working on it like every day, doing the lace, because come on, like look at that. It was so much fun to do. So what I'm planning to do here soon, maybe not tonight, but I would like to actually steam this lace out so I can really tell how much length I have for the body. So the next step for me is just to knit around and around and around in stockinette. And I have been alternating these two skeins that I have. One is more pink and one is more purple, so it's definitely needed to alternate. But I was alternating here at the beginning of round. You can see that here, right there. And now that I'm in stockinette stitch, I am doing the helical method of knitting, helix knitting. So basically, in the kind that I'm doing, I knit around, so I was alternating, so both of my yarns were right here at the beginning of the round. So when I was ready to do stockinette, I twisted them like I would normally do, and then I knit around and I stopped 3 stitches short of the beginning of the round. There we go, 3 stitches short. And these 3 I slipped purlwise. And then my next color or skein was right here, and I started knitting with that because it was right there. So what's gonna happen next is I will knit around. So you can see here's my other one. It's 3 stitches back, right? I'm gonna knit around with this other skein till I'm 3 stitches away from where this guy is. And then I'm gonna slip and pick this guy up, the other one, and knit around. And it just keeps going like that, 3 stitches back, 3 stitches back. I will try to find the tutorial that I used and link it. It's pretty simple, but like I did have to practice it because I was making a mistake. I was counting 3 stitches back. So here is the stitch that my yarn is attached to, right here. So let's just say this is where this is my next color. So I needed to slip. I was not counting this one as a stitch. I was stopping 3 stitches back from that stitch. So that's 4 stitches back. So you need to count this one where it's already there, and then 3 stitches back, I think. You should go watch the tutorial just in case I'm wrong. But yeah, it's really great, and it is not hard to do at all. And it just, for stockinette stitch, I didn't want that twist to be there because even though it's not visible, it would create just a bit of a shortening, tightening of the stitches. And so I'd rather it be nice and smooth. So this is my first time helical knitting. So yeah, I am really enjoying that. I made quite a bit of progress. There's my progress keeper down here over the last week, even though I haven't worked on it in a couple of days. So that's actually really good to see. Progress keepers can be so motivating. I'm gonna go ahead and move him up a little bit so that I'm ready for the next week. But yeah, just plain old stockinette knitting. So now that my socks are done, I'll have to start working on this here for a little bit. Okay, my last whip for this week is in a giant sweater bag. This is from Little Skein and the Big Wool. And this sweater bag was a gift from my mom, although I specifically asked for it. I really wanted this one with the sweaters on it. And they're kind of expensive and they're really hard to get because I feel like they take probably a lot of time to make, and so not many go out every year. And so I was watching, I signed up for the emails, and as soon as it was available, emailed it to my mom and said, please, or I'd already prepped her. I was like, I want this for Christmas. I don't know when it's gonna come out. And this was in like spring of whatever year that I got it. And they came out, I got the email, I sent it to my mom, she bought it for me, and she like held on to it for 8 months or something. And gave it to me for Christmas. So I really, really love this bag. It's got a drawstring on the top and a little toggle. So it fits a lot of stuff in it. And this was before I made my like giant float tote pattern. So I do use that, but this is good for something that doesn't have multiple skeins that you have to use at the same time. So it is perfect for housing my granny stripe blanket. So this is my project for Make 30 for 30, which is a make along that I'm hosting. It unofficially ends on Monday, but I think there's a lot of us that want to continue on into February. So I think that, and me included, I already wanted to. So don't worry, it's not going away. We can do it for as long as we want because it's a make along with no rules. But basically, it's just to motivate you to pick one project or multiple projects that you're gonna work on for 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And we started back close to the beginning of January. So I really was struggling the past couple weeks because when the time of day that I thought I was gonna work on it was not happening, it would always get to like the end of the night, and then I would feel like I needed to stay up later to sit here and work on this, and it just wasn't working. So I finally kind of bit the bullet and decided to make this a portable project to take with me to work, because work is a time that is very consistent for me. I almost always get a lunch. There are seasons or periods of time where I don't, but this time of year I'm getting a lunch and I have time to sit for 30 minutes and eat and work on this. So I've only been doing it for 2 days because it's Tuesday. But so far it has definitely been successful. And I'm getting into some colors here from my Advent this past year, and oh, it looks so good. So from last week, I was right down there. So that is not bad progress. When I measured this on Sunday, which is where I'm measuring Sunday week to week on Instagram, I think I was like in this stripe here. So I sat down and did a little extra work on Sunday to make up for a very low week that I had as far as progress goes. And then I've worked on it for the past couple days at work, and it's really been great. I think I've done this and this at work. So it's been really good. Sometimes, even though I want to be working on my Tanya at lunch, this is something that I made a priority for the month. And so I know I can get it done at work, and then Tanya can be my at-home project, and that is perfectly okay. Sometimes you got to get the stuff you don't want to do as much out of the way first. And that's the thing about this blanket, is not that I don't want to do it. Well, it is, because I don't want to do it sometimes. But once I actually start on it, I love it. It's just hard for me to sit down like on a Sunday. I used to do it for Scrappy Sunday, and I just didn't want to work on it for hours on end because it wasn't engaging enough. But 30 minutes a day is totally perfect to just kind of zone out and work on some easy crochet. So I didn't tell you what the pattern was called. This is an adapted version of Granny Stripes by Lucy of Attic 24. It's exactly her pattern, except that it's fingering weight. So I chained way more stitches. The project is at the very top of my Ravelry page right now. So if you want to go see exactly how many stitches I chained, I think it was 302 stitches, and I'm using what hook am I using? I need to get some more. I put some yarn in the pouch for like upcoming colors, but I need to get some more because I am almost out. I am using a D hook and 302 stitches. I'm kind of a loose crocheter, so I know some people have used an E for their fingering weight granny stripe blankets, but it's looking very good. It is a big old thing. It's funny, you can tell I was using like random stuff, and then I started using like Advent stuff that's a little more goes together a little more. I have a big old trunk of, well, not that big, but it kind of a trunk. Yeah, kind of a trunk, like a treasure chest of yarn, and on the top is all Advent yarn from just two dyers, and then underneath is like random stuff. So it'll be funny to get down to the random skeins and see what that starts to look like. But loving that project still. Disciplined and working on it every single day. Okay, I'm going to answer some questions now from the Ravelry thread. If you have questions for me, feel free to go to the Love and Stitches Ravelry group and go to the Ask Me thread and throw them in there. It can be knitting, crochet, life, anything related. So we have a few questions this week, and I'm also going to skip a couple questions because I want to save them for next week. So if you are like, wait, my question got skipped, it's intentional because I want to save it for when I can like prepare and put the proper time into answering it. Okay, so the first question that I'm going to answer this week that I feel ready and prepared to answer is from L Calver 28. And she says, "Hi Natalie, I love your podcast. I just wanted to ask you what your method of blocking is and what do you use? I hate the blocking process. After working on a project for so long, I just want to wear it right away. But I know I should block it and probably improve the appearance of my knits. Thanks, Lucy." Okay, Lucy, I am totally guilty of putting on something as soon as it is done and not blocking it. Especially my Like a Cloud sweater. I wore that for several days before I even washed it, and that thing had been a whip for like 7 months. So don't worry, I think that we all do it. So my favorite method of blocking, and the one that I use most of the time, is wet blocking. Basically what that means is I fill a small tub with like lukewarm or cold water, and I put a cleaning agent in it. I use soak most of the time. Soak is definitely marketed to knitters. I've used it in my washing machine before on my clothes though, but most of the time I use it for my knits. So basically I just get the water, I squeeze a little bit of soak in there and let it kind of suds up, and then I put my finished project in there, move it around a little bit. I'm careful not to like pick any little bits of it up because most of what I knit is wool or merino wool or superwash, and if you really let it like stretch when it's wet, it's not gonna go back until you wash it again. So I'm very careful to kind of like move it around as a whole, make sure it really gets wet, and then I let it soak for at least 15 minutes. Sometimes I forget about it and leave it overnight. Nothing has ever happened. You do need to be careful if you have multiple colors, like if you've knit something that's like white and red, for example, that can be a little iffy with wet blocking and even steam blocking. The colors can bleed together. So just be careful, keep that in mind. But yeah, wash it and then I will pick it up, like again, being careful to keep it as a whole. I will squeeze it with my hands really good. Usually run some water over it and squeeze it again. Soak is it doesn't have to be rinsed. Like you don't need to fill up another clean water tub and rinse it in there, but you can kind of like rinse it out under the sink. I squeeze it out really good and then I lay it down on a towel, bath towel or hand towel, whatever. We have some old towels that we use for this. I will roll it up and then put it on the floor and I will like stomp the heck out of it and just squeeze all that water out that I can. Now, if it's a sweater, usually after that, I will bring it usually down to this room that I'm in because it doesn't get a lot of foot traffic, and I will lay it out flat to dry, basically putting it into shape, like pulling the sleeve out nice, make sure the ribbing is out and not like wrinkled up like this, because however you put it is how it's going to dry. So I'll like lay it out nice and flat. If any like for my Tanya, for example, since it's got lace, I would probably pin it at different points because it actually needs a little extra stretch. If it's a shawl, I'm usually going to use some blocking pins. The first time that I wash it, where are my pins? I like these. These are by Clover. I've had them for, I don't know, for as long as I can remember. I did knit this little thing. Isn't it cute? It's just out of little cotton. So yeah, I like these pins because they're really thin. They're not as thick as T-pins, and I don't find T-pins to work really well. So I have a blocking board, and then I also have the little squishy foam mats because most of the shawls that I make are too long for the blocking board. So I'll lay out the board, and then I will put these little mats, I think these are from Knit Picks, next to it, and use pins if I need to. Now anything, hold on, I'm gonna put this back before, I think I've already spilled a couple things. I did. Okay, now we're back together. If it's a shawl, I will usually once it's been squeezed out, I will usually give it like a good stretch. Like if it's triangular, I'll give it a good stretch across that one side that is always, no matter what you do, tighter than the other side. Why does that always happen? I know it's something to do with like decreasing and increasing and turning on the right and the wrong side, but why does that always happen? I will stretch that out really good, and then I will be like whoosh, and lay the shawl out. Be careful with that because again, if you have superwash and you don't want it to grow in length or width, you need to just like gently lay it out and then place it out slowly with your hands. And then yeah, some pins here and there. I don't usually use pins a lot because I'm not making a lot of things that need to be specific measurements or a lot of lace. But yeah, if you don't use as many pins, it doesn't take as long to block, which is great. If you don't have a blocking board, you can use a towel. If you have an extra bed, like a guest bedroom, put 2 layers of towels on the guest bed, and then you can put the pins through there. 2 layers of towels, you can probably do it without poking the bedding. And if you really stomp on your knits in another towel, don't use the wet damp towel to then lay your knits on top. Get a new dry one, and then it really shouldn't take that long to dry. Turn the fan on in the room, and usually overnight. Anything that isn't super isn't double layered like a sweater or isn't really thick pretty much is dry. Like my socks, for example, the difference with my socks, I'll do the same soaking method, is I'll squeeze them out really good and I'll stick them on here, and then I'll put them on top of the bucket I blocked them on so that most of the surface is getting air. I won't set it down on a towel because then this is not getting air. I'll do it like that, and usually overnight they're dry. So that's my blocking method. That's another thing that I have on my list of videos to record because I don't know. I just feel like that would be a good video to record. Every project is different. Every material is different. So pay close attention to that. If you make something that is linen, I believe, you can just wash it and dry it, and then it's like whoosh, and it's blocked. It's amazing. But don't do that with your wool. Okay, next question. This is from Wait, where did this question go? Umok? I'm not sure how to say that. It's probably some initials or something, but she says, "Hi Natalie, I was wondering if you knit much for your husband. I know you knit the Weasley sweaters for your family, and I know you knit socks and other gifts for your sister, mother, and mother-in-law. If you do knit or crochet for him, are there certain types of projects he prefers to wear or that you prefer to make? Or are there any patterns that you would like to make for him? Thanks, Kaylin." Okay, Kaylin, that's a great question. So I have knit so few things for Kent, my husband, that I was actually able to round them up and bring them down here just for you, Kaylin. So to answer that first, I've knit a sweater for him. And now this is not an everyday type of sweater like I'm wearing right now. This is like a Christmas time sweater. It's like a cutesy little thing with a K on the front for Kent. And it's a Weasley sweater from Harry Potter. I have only knit him, to my memory, 2 other things, and I can show them to you right now. I have knit him this hat. He actually picked out the yarn himself. The yarn is Dream in Color, smushy with cashmere, and the colorway is gray tabby, and you can see it's got those stripes in it. That is how the yarn is dyed. Really, really cute. So he was invested in this because we were on a yarn crawl, and he said, "I think I would like a hat." And I was very excited because he doesn't really like a lot of, like, I've offered to knit him stuff in the past, and he had said, like, no, that's okay. He wanted a hat. And so he picked out the yarn first, and it was several months, maybe even a year later, before I actually knit the hat. But this pattern is a free pattern. It has a silly name, so get ready. It's called 2x2 Ribbed for His Pleasure. And I think the maker or the designer is Tink's Darker Side. Basically, it's a 2x2 ribbing hat, and the decreases at the top are interesting to me though. There are 4 decreases at the top, which actually looks fine once it's on someone's head, but is rather pointy. I really like this hat because you can basically buy a really nice skein of fingering weight yarn, $30 skein. This had cashmere in it, and knit something. It takes a while, but it makes a really nice gift. And yeah, $30 is kind of a lot for yarn, but for a really nice hat that you handmade, like that's kind of like a perfect gift, I think, for somebody special. So I have made these for other guys. I have made one for one of my brothers. I also picked like a really nice yarn. I think his was more of a dark, like really charcoal gray. And then I changed the decreases on it. And I believe I have notes on my Ravelry page for his. Instead of having 4 areas of decreasing, I did 5. Again, I think I have notes on that. And if I can remember, I'll try to link it in this description box. But I like this pattern enough that I would like to make one for my other brother as well for this Christmas. He always really likes navy, so I'm thinking about looking for a special nice skein of navy yarn and making that for him. So here's one thing other than the sweater I have knit for my husband. The other thing is this. Actually, this is crochet. I made him this. So if you are a World of Warcraft fan, you might already know what this is. This is a murloc, a baby murloc, and I only know that because I asked him right before, and that's what it was called, I think, baby murloc. But this is a little creature that's in World of Warcraft. I crocheted it and stuffed it, and it was a pain in the butt. I hate making toys. But I knew he would really like it, and it really didn't take that long. I already had these colors. And so yeah, he really loves this. It actually just sits on his desk in his home office. And yeah, I think he really enjoys it. So if I ever see another like amigurumi World of Warcraft thing, I would consider making it for him. This was just like the best one. Like actually he picked this out too, because I pulled it up on Ravelry and let him pick. So that's all that I've made for Ken: a sweater, a hat, and a creature. So he doesn't really like I've asked him before. He says he would like a sweater, a real, like an everyday sweater, something nice. So eventually I would like to make him a nice sweater that could be like a go-to. But you know, for men, it's like, if you're a sweater wearer, then great. But some guys aren't sweater wearers. Like I think a lot more women can just like throw on a cardigan or a sweater, and it's a lot more casual than for men, where it's a bit more like dressy or kind of mature in a way. So I don't know, just, you know, he just doesn't really want much, I guess. He also doesn't love wearing socks. Like he'll wear dress socks, and he'll wear like athletic socks with his tennis shoes. Like he wears socks, but like when we're at home, he's a barefoot guy. And so I've asked him if he wanted me to knit him socks before, and he said no. He really didn't want me to like spend my time knitting on something. He knows socks take a long time, that he didn't really want to wear, which at first I was like, how rude. But actually I've grown to really appreciate that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on something, especially for my spouse, who I'm going to see every day and know if they don't wear it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it if he doesn't actually want it. Oh my gosh, I wonder if that was on my face the whole time. Last night, when I was working on these at the Stars game, he turned and looked at them and goes, wow, that is really cool. I would actually wear a sock that looked like that. I was like, what? This is what you want? So I don't know, maybe he just doesn't want like a plain sock. Maybe he wants a fancy little patterned sock. So I am going to wait until he brings that up again to see if he actually wants that before I knit like a men's size sock. But if he wants them, I would be more than happy to make it for him, because he deals with a lot of my, like right now, he's like playing his, like, I mean, this is real hard for him, right? He's up in his office playing games on the computer so he can be nice and quiet so that I can do my podcast. And he does that for me every single Tuesday, even when it kind of sometimes makes us eat dinner late. So what can I do? Knit him a pair of socks. Okay, let's see. There's one more I'm going to answer, and I am skipping a couple, and I will answer them next week. This one is from Baba Yaga Knits, maybe? I'm not sure how to say that one either. Love your creative names. Okay, she says, or he says, I'm not sure. Hello, you are super organized. I have a lot of knitting needles. The double pointed ones I keep in lovely ceramic vessels or cups given to me as Christmas presents. Ooh, what a good idea. But what to do with all the circular needles? I have no idea how to organize them. Okay, Toaster was barking, or he was starting to bark, but then he didn't. So back to this question. So what to do with all the circular needles? I have no idea how to organize them. They have to be hidden since the cat likes to chew on the plastic. Also, what is the best way to organize yarn? Fiber type, projects, or weight? I live in a small apartment, so I don't have a lot of space. Okay, love that question. I do love organizing. Recently, I did a video on my yarn room where I like simplified things and organized it. So if you're interested in stuff like that and you want to organize with me, I will make sure to put that in here somewhere too. Okay, so let's talk about circular needles first. So I had a hanging organizer, which doesn't sound like it's going to work for you if your cats like to get to your needles, because cats are so good at getting to things. They will like jump up and pull them down. So that's probably not going to work for you. So you need some kind of storage that can be organized by at least needle size, if not also length, but that can be put away. So some of the creative things that I have seen people do is to get a binder and to buy those like canvasy pencil pouches that zip. And literally on the canvasy pencil pouch, they will write in Sharpie a needle size. So like starting with, let's say like a US 1 or a 2.25 millimeter. And they will put all of their circular needles that are 2.25 millimeters in that zipper pouch. You can store your needles like this if you want to. These are Chiagu. They have a wire in the, I think they have a wire. I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't make these needles. But so they get a little bit of a kink but they're not so bad. They're not like plastic where it really, really kinks up. So the way that I do my needles like that is you hold on to one end, you get the other end, and then you start to like naturally kind of let it coil. So I let it coil into my hand like once, and then I kind of flipping it around to coil again. And so I have a little loop, and then I will take, this is going to be hard to do slow, one end behind and through, one needle forward and through. And then they're like that, like how they came in the package. So let's do that one more time because that was a disaster. Okay, you have the needles in both hands. You let them coil once, catch it in your hand, coil twice. Sometimes I do it 3 times. One needle is going to go behind and through your loop, pinch it. The other needle is going to come in front and go through your loop. And then you have this. These will go in the pencil pouches. You don't, honestly, it's better to organize by the needle size than the length, because you can just grab the size and then be like, okay, which lengths do I have? What do I need? So that's probably the best way to do it. You can get a binder that, like one of those old school Trapper Keeper ones that literally zip up. That'd be great. Or you can just, honestly, if you don't want to buy anything right now, you probably have some plastic baggies in your house, and you can just write on the plastic baggie in Sharpie and put these away, and test it out first and see if it works for you before you invest in buying like some pencil pouches. I don't actually have a lot of circular needles. If you watch that simplifying my yarn room video, I actually got rid of all of my fixed circular needles except for basically sock needles and anything that's size 3 and below, because I have an interchangeable needle kit. And so my needles are stored in a specific pouch that has the slots for the needle tips and then the spots for the cords. So I don't have circular needles to store anymore, and everything just goes in a pouch in a drawer. But yeah, maybe try the binder thing. That's the best thing that I've seen. Yeah. Maybe y'all can give some suggestions. Head to Ravelry if you're a Ravelry user and give some tips here. Or if you're not, you can just comment in the YouTube comments and give us your best tips. As far as yarn goes, what's the best way to organize yarn? Oh my gosh, there's no best way. There's only your way, whatever that works for you. I like to organize by weight, except that I pretty much only have fingering weight. So I have organized it a few different ways. I have done it by ply. I've sort of got it by ply right now. Like this is fingering weight single ply right here, and these two are fingering weight in different plies, like some are 4 ply and some are 2 ply. I used to have them separated, but then I tried to do like a color thing, which I visually like better. Plus it doesn't really matter because I don't have that much. So when I go to pick out a project, if I want to make sure I have 2 4 plies or 2 2 plies, I can just look at them and I'll be able to see. I've got like lace weight. It's so hard to reach when it's like on camera. Lace weight, mohair, and then this whole cube is like DK and worsted weight. So this is sweater quantities. So that's how I have mine organized. This is all my yarn right here, except for my little scrappies and my cotton stash. So yeah, that's it. So if you're in a small space, you can, like obviously probably one of these shelves, like this was my dream to have this IKEA shelf and to have a yarn room, and I got it in this house, and it's been so amazing. But before that, I would use actually the top of my closet where I kept my clothes. Honestly, I had a pretty big closet, so I was able to use half my closet. I don't have a lot of clothes, so my clothes were like half, and then the other half was all yarn. But I was able to store stuff like that I didn't use a lot up high. You could get like those clear plastic bins from the dollar store, or Walmart has really good prices, so you can see your stuff and you can just label it like fingering weight, and I'll have a lid and it'll be safe, and you can pull it down and dump it out when you're ready to look at your fingering weight. So basically whatever works for you. I don't know when somebody's gonna hire me as like a yarn room organizer. I'm just kidding. That would be so cool. That'd be the coolest job if I could just go around and help people like organize their yarn stashes and yarn rooms. That'd be so much fun. I don't know if there's enough of a clientele for me to do that full time, but I would love to do it. Anyway, yeah, that's that's probably what I would do in a small space if I had to like really put stuff away, is get clear tubs, because then you can still see your stuff. It's easy to pull down from somewhere up high, which is usually where you put things you don't need to use all the time. But if you did want to have it out on display, I mean, this is a decent amount of yarn and it is not packed in there. You could get like something very small that's just a little, accessory, or like if you have a TV cabinet, like nobody has DVDs anymore, take those DVDs out, put your yarn in there, it'll be really cute. And then you can see it all the time. Just get creative with it, and if it has some sort of organization, it'll be easier for you to find. Okay, let's talk, whoops. Oh my gosh, how is it 7:22 already? Okay, let's talk about a couple of news things for Love and Stitches. So my newest shawl pattern, Architectura, is still on sale. Just go to the love letter video, and at the very beginning there's a coupon code for you there. The last day to redeem that coupon code is this Friday, January 31st, and it ends at midnight Central Time. So if you do want to buy that pattern at a discount, go ahead and do that quickly before the sale ends. I think it makes the pattern $4.20, and after that it'll be $6. So not an astronomical difference, but having a sale pattern is always great. I have a new video this week. It is a little different. So let me come back to that in a second. Make 30 for 30 is a make along that I am hosting in January and just into February. It ends on February 3rd, right? Isn't that Monday? February 3rd. And basically it's just, a group of us on Instagram that are using the hashtag and motivating each other. And basically the commitment is just to pick a project and work on it for 30 minutes a day for 30 days. Now, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be knitting. It doesn't have to be crochet. Doesn't have to be one project. There's no rules at all. There's no prizes. It's just kind of an unofficial fun knit along. There is a group in the Ravelry thread if you want to go chat and see what people are doing. But it's just fun. And there have been several people who have said to me, I want to keep going. This is so motivating. Are we going to do this in February? And the answer is yes. Keep going for as long as you want. My thought process is to finish up the granny stripe blanket February 3rd, like not finish the project, but like finish doing the 30 minutes a day. And then for the rest of February, actually I'm going to be doing something different. So you'll get to hear about that next week, but it's still going to be make 30 for 30. I'm still going to be working on something every single day. And it's just the concept of like, if you do a little bit every day, you will be amazed at how much that you can get done. So check out the Make 30 for 30 video if you haven't seen it yet on all the details, and jump on in. Even though it's the last week, we're going to go again in February. So jump on in and join us. Okay, back to the new video. So I did sort of a different video this week, more of a lifestyle video than a knitting and crochet video. So this month, in the month of January 2020, my husband and I had a challenge for ourselves to spend only $30 a week on our groceries. We're doing this for a couple reasons. Mostly it's to save money for vacations. We also took a vacation in December, so to just kind of, rein in on a part of our budget that's very much under our control to save for something that we really want to do. So it's actually been really good. We've been able to waste less food because we're buying less, and we've been creative and freezing stuff and cooking different meals. And so I'm excited. We're gonna cook some ramen tonight using the packaged ramen noodles, but then everything else is from your pantry. It's gonna be really great. I got mushrooms and spinach, but everything else is pretty much things you have on hand. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we have just been learning a lot from that. Now this $30 a week, keep in mind, is just the two of us because it's just me and my husband. And it's only for January. So it's not a thing we're gonna do long term. There's some things I've been running out of, in groceries, it's food, but for me, it's also shampoo, and I don't have any more cotton swabs, things like that I've just been saying, you know what? We don't have $5 to spend on that right now because we need to get some food. So we're just gonna hold off until February, and it's really not a big deal. So it's been pretty cool. But I was sitting down on Saturday to make our last our grocery list for the last week of January, and I thought, why don't I record this? Several people, when I talked about it on Instagram that we were doing that challenge, showed some interest, so I thought maybe it would be interesting to you. Now, $30 may not be your goal or like within reason for you because of, you know, your family size or the cost of living wherever you are, or your dietary needs especially. We're very fortunate. All right, sorry about that. My mom called me on her way home from work. I don't know how she got through Do Not Disturb. She must have called me twice. But we don't have any dietary restrictions, fortunately. So there's not anything like really special. We're also both pretty, like, we're not super picky eaters, and we don't mind eating the same thing, and we don't mind eating leftovers. So yeah, that's pretty lucky. So $30 has worked for us great. Actually, a lot of weeks we're at like $15. Like last week we were at $15. And then we saw this really great deal on Shiner Cheer, which is a holiday beer that had been, you know, obviously it's not Christmas anymore, so they're trying to get rid of it, and it was like a super great deal. So because we were so frugal, we were able to buy that for a great deal. Was it a need? No. Were we still under $30? By $5. I mean, it was great. So yeah, it's been actually really freeing. So I talk all about that in my video this week. So whether or not you're a family of two and $30 is realistic for you, or it needs to be something different, I kind of just show you my process of planning it out, how I price shop, and then and I think it will be applicable for anybody. You just have to adapt it for your family. So lifestyle is something that I'm really into right now, organization and cleaning and all kinds of stuff like that. So you're probably going to see more of that coming out soon, but I will try to always tie it into knitting. Like, for example, if you can really stick to a strict grocery budget, you can put away money to go to like that knitting festival. We have DFW Fiberfest coming up in April. Save your money. You know, if you normally spend $100 a week on groceries, now you got $70 you can save a week on groceries. Or maybe you need to spend $50 and you usually spend $100, and so $50 a week, you can say, hey, I'm setting this towards yarn. By the end of the month, you're gonna have $200 you can just go crazy and spend on yarn. So there you go. You can always bring it back to knitting, right? One last announcement. This is episode 49, which means that next week is episode 50. Crazy. So I've been podcasting for just over a year. I have not quite podcasted every single week, but close to it. So yeah, next week is my 50th episode. So make sure you watch, because I will have a small little giveaway. I've got some yarn, I've got a pattern, and a cute little accessory. So I think you're going to like it. But yeah, make sure you watch next week so you can see how to enter. As far as life goes, nothing really new going on here. So I am just gonna skip. Oh, that's not true. I have one thing coming up tomorrow. I don't know how much I've talked about this. I'm going to the doctor for my varicose veins, because apparently on the inside, in my eyeballs and my veins, I'm an old lady. No, that's not true. That's not very nice to say. I should not have said that. This can happen to anybody. Proof, it happened to me, and I am 27 years old. So, over the summer, I noticed that I had like a vein popping out of my right calf, and it didn't hurt. It just was like not super cute, and so I noticed it. And then over the course of the next few months, it actually started to be bothersome. Sometimes itchy, sometimes painful, sometimes just feeling like pressure. I don't know. It's really weird to describe. It's uncomfortable. Like, it's discomfort, but not exactly pain. So it was bothering me. I would have to put my legs up, whatever. So I kind of decided I would go to the doctor, to a vein specialist. I asked my primary care doctor. They recommended me somebody, and I went. And they did this ultrasound on my legs. It was super weird, and it felt horrible. I hate, hopefully you're not squeamish, but like I hate like even getting my, what's it called? when they take your blood pressure, because I can feel that moment my blood like drops back down. I hate it so much. So when they were doing this vein thing, they were pushing on my legs, pushing on my veins, and listening to it with an ultrasound machine, and it was, I wanted to like throw up. It was terrible. It didn't hurt. It wasn't probably bad for most people. It was just in my head. Anyway, I hope I don't have to do it again. I probably will tomorrow. I should not eat breakfast. But anyway, they were checking to see if there was damage in my veins, and they found damage in my veins. And so it's a normal thing that can happen, sometimes with an active lifestyle and sometimes with an inactive lifestyle. So either way, it's a lose-lose. You can't really do anything about it, especially because it's super hereditary, and my dad has had to have veins removed. So I accepted it, and I had to wear compression socks for 3 months to see if it would magically heal these veins, which it has not. So I'm at the end of my 3-month trial, and I get to go tomorrow to the doctor. And I'm hoping beyond hope that basically what I'm feeling will be enough that insurance will cover me to have something done about it. I cannot wear these compression socks in the summer in Texas, y'all. It's too much. They do help, but they are not solving the problem. Also, I've had many more veins pop up since that one. It's not just one, it's many. And it's not cute, and they're weird. Okay, that's probably more than you ever wanted to know, but hey, I'm an open book. That's happening tomorrow, Wednesday, so I will come back with a report next week. I'm probably not done wearing, especially if I have a procedure, probably compression socks for a long time, for several months, but that's okay. I'm willing to do it if I can be like healed, and I'm also willing to do what I need to do to prevent more from coming now that I know about it, now that I know I'm susceptible to it. So anyway, if you have a vein issue, go get it checked out. There's a chance that you can actually get it resolved, especially if it's causing you pain. Okay, bringing me joy. Let's switch gears. Bringing me joy this week. I am finally feeling like I am on top of things again. I'm actually looking at a pile of stuff that needs to be put away that we've brought into our house from organizing and unpacking a storage unit, and anyway, but I am finally feeling like I actually exercised today. I did some yoga. Work, I feel like I'm getting a handle on. We're about to go into another busy testing season, which is kind of stressful, but like it's starting to feel like this is just what I do. I can handle it. So that's what's bringing me joy this week, is just feeling like I got this. Doing that Make 30 for 30 has kind of helped me apply it to different areas of my life, like things that I really don't want to do. Like there was something at work I really didn't want to do today, and I was like, well, just 15 minutes. I'm just going to set a timer and I'm going to work on it for 15 minutes. And if all I do in this 15 minutes is like think about how I don't like this, at least I'm focusing on it for 15 minutes. And then when you actually start, it's not that bad, and you actually get more done. And sometimes you go more than 15 minutes because you're at a point where you're like, oh, I'm doing it, I don't need to stop. So that's how I'm feeling this week, is joyful for feeling like I'm finally feeling like this is what it is. I finally feel like I'm back into my routine after December and Christmas. And isn't that crazy? It's almost February. So if you still feel like the holidays have messed you up and you're like, that's not even an excuse anymore. It's been 4 weeks since New Year's and 5 since Christmas. It's okay. Me too. We just put our Christmas decorations away. We haven't even put them all the way up. They're just in the tubs. But sometimes things like that are monumental, and they are hard to jump. And so it's okay if you're finally feeling back to it, or if you're not even there yet. It's all right. Hey, 15 minutes at a time or 30 minutes a day. That's how I get stuff done. All right, guys. I think that's everything. Come back next week for episode 50. I will have something fun to give away and answer more of those questions that I skipped. There's some really good ones. And I will see you guys next week.